All right, let's finish this one up. Well, I can't completely finish it because there are ongoing parts of this story that need another month or so to come to full fruition. But to backtrack and to summarize where we are, last year during the protests, David McAvity, who is the vice president of academics, or the academic dean for budget, space, and international programs, he was confronted by students on behalf of one particular student who wanted her credits for the past year, over the course of that whole year, changed from lower division credits to upper division credits. It turns out that this particular student was 10 students below the line of who achieved upper division science credit at Evergreen. I'm going to show you guys 3.5 minutes of video of David being confronted. This is probably not about just this student, but we can see David's frame of mind at this point when he goes to and he approaches one faculty member, one science faculty member, and starts to pressure her into changing the grade of this student. And before we show that, I'm going to read the last part of the email that I read for the previous episode, which is linked up there. So this is David McAvity writing. P.S. It may be there are other students who have not met the standard for upper division credit who would merit additional opportunities to demonstrate their understanding. I don't think you need to offer this opportunity to all students who are below the upper division standard to be fair, because not all the students will have met the criteria for being given extra opportunities, such as those in the bullets above. And among the bullet points above is being in an identity group that is traditionally underrepresented in the sciences. The student may feel more isolated and disconnected from others in the class. Because of her identity, it is certain, that she experiences microaggressions which negatively impact her learning environment. And lastly, the last bullet point, which is probably the weirdest one, is that the student asked for the opportunity and it is important to her. So those are the criteria that allow this one student to be given more opportunities than every other student. Now, here's this video so you can see exactly what is going on in David McAvity's mind.
I sit with the deans every Tuesday for dean's meeting. When there is a discussion about something that's happening within a program, their focus is student success. It is. I mean, you may not believe it, but that's the main thing.
Okay.
Are you talking about white students or colored students?
We're talking about all students.
This is also...
You guys think that you say you're doing this and this when you're trying to make
Somebody got a laptop.
Don't worry about the color of the student.
Right here.
Training or equity training or anything to understand everybody in this room in minority situations. You're oppressing students that are paid to be here. So how are faculty more important than students? And we're not talking about white students right now. We're talking about students of color and how you're going to help accommodate to us.
We're not talking about all students neither. We're talking about specifically students of color.
Right, because and I believe you guys have a big demographic of being a predominantly white school, and there's no doubt that you guys do make things accessible and good for white students, but that's the issue, is you're leaving out too many of us that deserve it too.
Institutional change is slow here.
Oh!
Whether it's slow or not, the change is going to happen now. You can see that everybody's ready for it. So, slow as in 20 years or so, you still have the ability to make impact today. Why wait another 20 years?
There are...
He means slow. You don't know.
No.
Why don't you know?
Okay, so our faculty are unionized. We have a contract with our faculty. There are certain things we can and can't do. It's all laid out in the contract.
So how do we provide the contract?
When it comes to discipline, that's when they violate conditions within the contract. And we follow those up. I've done that because I'm the VP of academics. I've done that this year with faculty.
Have you
If it doesn't
reprimanded?
rise to the level of violation of the contract, we can have discussions, we can talk. But There are no requirements.
Well, I think there is a lot of issues with violation of the contract, but I don't know about y'all, but a lot of my emails get ignored. So how can you say you're hearing my story and knowing what's being violated if you won't even listen?
My question is, why do we have faculty that work here that make our students feel uncomfortable and unsafe?
Yeah.
It's a simple question.
Y'all here for us.
Wait, if you care about all students, then why aren't RN academic stuff being prioritized at all?
Oh, that just clicked with him. He was just like,
hard to do homework when I'm stressing about racism and anti-blackness in classrooms and shit. So how is that prioritizing my education when I have literal panic attacks sometimes, because of this institution? How are you prioritizing it?
I think we've had a concerted effort this year to try and get...
No, this is not a PR conference. This is not a PR conference.
Right, if there's been an effort, we wouldn't be here right now. So let's be real.
This effort's going to keep going for years.
What effort?
No, you can make change.
When they walked out, where's the effort?
I'm telling you don't talk over me. I'm telling you right now that nothing you have done has made change. None of your efforts have worked. We're here together because none of your efforts have worked.
Okay, before I get to the email exchange between the science faculty and David McAvity, I need to bring our attention to the basic principles as written on the Evergreen website for the grievance procedure that a student needs to take in order to have their evaluation reconsidered. Here we go. Amending faculty evaluations of students. Every quarter, faculty write evaluations of students. The evaluation is a statement of the quality and quantity of student work as perceived by the faculty member based on his professional judgment. And this is bolded. A student does not have a right to a hearing with an academic dean regarding a disagreement with the faculty member's professional academic judgment about the quality of work or award of credit. And this further paragraph is also bolded. In matters related to faculty evaluations of students, students are expected to first talk with or write to the faculty member who signed the evaluation within 30 calendar days from the date the final evaluation was received by the student. It goes on and details the exact process where the student needs to talk to the faculty first and then write to the dean, and then the dean and the faculty will talk, get back to the student. There's this whole procedure, and David McAvity jumps over that procedure. He violates the procedure to actually do this in a proper manner. Furthermore, the student wants credit changed for fall and winter quarter, and it's way beyond 30 days. And this procedure states explicitly the only exception to the requirement to contact the faculty member directly is when the case may involve issues of discrimination. So the only way that this whole process is valid for David McAvity to be entering into and promulgating is if he believes that this is a matter of discrimination. And what he's actually doing, very unfortunately, is asking these teachers to discriminate in a positive manner based on identity characteristics. So with that said, let's watch the Evergreen Science faculty battle for the validity of the Bachelor of Science degree to make sure that it's not a bunch of BS. So Robin Forbes-Lorman replies to David McAvity's 2,000-word essay on equity-mindedness and all the reasons why this student should be given special exemption. Hi, David. Mike and I have discussed your proposal. Despite your explanation, we still have some concerns about the legal and ethical aspects of awarding retroactive upper division science credit to the student without doing the same for the other students who didn't receive upper division credit, some of whom have already left the program. It is therefore very important to know if all of the deans, provost, and our union is on board with this. We need an affirmative answer that all are on board with this proposal before considering it further. We will wait for your email response. That's on May 30th, and then a week later, Mike Peros sends David McAvity a spreadsheet with all the students' names removed that proves exactly how quantified the grading structure is for this program. And Mike writes to David McAvity, "In light of the untrue allegations that Molecules to Organisms faculty gave preferential treatment to students, followed by meetings and emails by the deans urging faculty to then give preferential treatment to certain students by giving retroactive credit, I have submitted my spring quarter spreadsheet without names. In the spreadsheet, sheet 2, I have clearly delineated the basis of which adjectives I will be using in credit allocation, upper and lower division. Please contact me prior to submitting my evaluations if you would like to discuss these decisions. Feel free to consult other administrators, staff, and student support services. By not responding to this email, I will interpret this as having your full support for my decisions. If there is any controversy, this email is evidence that you have been informed about the methods that I have used to evaluate students this quarter." And then David replies to this. "Thanks for this record, Mike. I'd like to follow up with you and Robin before the two of you or I communicate with the student. Do you have any time at lunch tomorrow? Just so we are on the same page. I wanted to be clear that I'm not asking you to give student retroactive upper division credit. I am asking if you would be willing, because of extenuating circumstances, to allow her additional opportunities to demonstrate her understanding of the material at that level through additional work she might do or through the work she has already done but you have not seen. Secondly, as educators, we are in the business of helping students learn, and is not uncommon that we help students who need more help more, such as by working longer with them on workshops or in office hours, or by offering those who struggle on tests the chance for extra tutor sessions or the opportunity to do corrections. Occasionally, we give students with extenuating circumstances the opportunity to make up missed work or do incompletes. This all seems to be the standard stuff of good teaching. Viewed a certain way, you might call this preferential treatment, but I don't think that is a fair characterization." And then Robin responds to this email by writing, "Hi David, I'm confused. You say, I wanted to be clear that I'm not asking to give student retroactive upper division credit. I'm asking if you would be willing, because of extenuating circumstances, to allow her additional opportunities to demonstrate her understanding of the material at that level through additional work, etc., etc. So, are you saying we should look at her material and then not change her credit at all? Or are you saying we look at her material and then give her upper division credit for the previous quarters? This is retroactive upper division credit. If the latter, as I stated before, I am not comfortable with this without offering it to everyone who was above her on the spreadsheet. Among those 13 individuals in the fall, there are surely other individuals who had extenuating situations as well, and I'm not comfortable giving what I would consider preferential treatment to the student just because she asked. I believe it is unethical and very different from spending more time with someone in workshop or office hours." Signed, Robin. Now, after much back and forth between the faculty and McAvity, where David starts to send these emails to the equal opportunity officer, which then turns this into an investigation, which will make these documents very difficult to acquire, Robin eventually gets to the meat of the matter by telling David that she still doesn't understand what this equity business is all about. I have mostly felt pressured to do something in the name of equity that I do not believe is good practice of equity. As a result of this last quarter, I am now quite confused about what the college considers equity-minded teaching. I am trying to reconcile what is being pushed on me with what I understand about equity in higher education. To be specific, I have been told by you and Greg that equity is about meeting each student where they are and basically accommodating individual student needs and, quote, learning each student and their circumstances and what they need, we can tailor and offer opportunities that meet the needs of each student, end quote. And that's from David's previous email. This is different from structuring the classroom in an equitable way, i.e., using evidence-based methods for increasing the success of students from all backgrounds. This doesn't mean that individuals don't matter. I remind students to do exam corrections, try to spend more time with individuals who need it in workshops, etc. Quote, equity then is about striving to structure biology classroom environments that maximize fairness, wherein all students have opportunities to verbally participate, all students can see their personal connections to biology, all students have the time to think, all students can pose ideas and construct their knowledge of biology, and all students are explicitly welcomed into the intellectual discussion of biology. And that's a quote from Tanner, 2013. Robin continues, it is important to have a common idea of what equity looks like, particularly as I am expected to write about my equity practices in my self-eval for my first-year review. If someone could point me in the direction of a resource describing equity as you have presented it, as individual accommodations, I would find this very useful. David, I would also love to have some examples of regular other rubric-based assessments based on individual or group work outside of an exam setting that don't encourage plagiarism and are reasonable for new faculty to assess. I have also experienced a pretty ineffective way of communicating this quarter, with David and Greg, her deans, as the messengers, often bearing incorrect or incomplete information between the student and Mike and I. The support that I've felt I lacked from the deans is apparent in her evaluation of me, in the students' evaluation of Robin. So students evaluate the professors as well as the professors evaluating their students at Evergreen, where she clearly does not understand what has been attempted to be communicated. Example given. Why is it not fair to give her a chance to earn upper division credit and not other students, or that I gave a 5th week warning in the fall? I guess in the future, I would recommend someone in the student situation be asked to talk to the faculty directly. Remember, she hadn't talked to me about her discontent with the credit since week 10 of winter quarter, when she said she understood my reasoning. So the student and Robin already spoke in the winter, and then this situation has been brought up again. Who knows why? I have also been unclear as to what the student was asking for from Mike and I. Mike has barely been contacted to consider her request, while I was contacted in person, both by Greg and David several times. What is the reason for this disparity? David McAvity responds, Dear Robin, I'm happy to talk with you about this. It does seem like there is more to talk about given the feelings you expressed below, and more generally to take a longer view of your experience this year and in years to come. If you're around this summer, please drop me a line. And then Robin says, I'd like to let this go. But this isn't let go. And it is proceeded to go into some sort of weird intermediary state that I don't have all the records of, but this proceeds into an investigation over the summer and then is locked for quite some time. So at the end of the day, who is served by this? The students aren't happy. The ones who are rewarded by this situation, they don't end up getting the skills. Those who encounter a very difficult course are given the opportunity or the inclination or even the benefit of being able to complain against the teachers instead of actually doing the work and learning how to work hard. The students who are skipped over by this stuff, they're cheated, first by not getting the same treatment as other people, and then by the grade being inflated to basically mean nothing. The science faculty, when they are trying to do their job, they are brought into all this kind of argumentation and going back and forth with the students. And then basically what happens is that they start to look more and more at the identities of their students and less at their work, and starts to modify all the curves and the grades to situate in some sort of impossible calculus that takes over all the intersectional oppressions and translates that into you get ahead, you get behind, your points go up, your points go down, or everybody gets the same grade. the deans end up acting like tyrants. And I'm sure for most of them, they either enter into cognitive dissonance, or they start to just embrace their maliciousness, or they just start feeling more and more empty, like they're not doing their job, right? The administration suffers in a variety of ways. The school suffers by loss of enrollment. Science itself suffers. Everybody suffers. And I don't even think we need to even pin it on any given person. I think this has to do with the ideology. It has to do with this equity mindset. This is poison. This is not going to work. This is going to erode any given project, any given company, even any given institution that becomes infected by it. That being said, it is a Marxist ideology, so buy my t-shirt. Please do not harass the students. Please do not harass Evergreen. I think it's going to pull through. I think it has the possibility of pulling through. And if you are from Evergreen and you're finding a lot of reason to hate me, none of these people are my inside people. I've done all the research myself. Don't go around blaming each other and looking for somebody who's the rat amongst your midst, because the rat is the ideology. The rat is embedded into the mission statement. Whatever this social justice stuff is, it's not just to anybody. And it, in fact, leads to antisocial behavior. So with that being said, I'm going to wash these 2 episodes off of me, because this stuff is probably some of the more heavier stuff that I've had to do. I really, you know what, hopefully maybe I can talk to Coleman Hughes about this stuff and get his input on this double-ply bigotry of no expectations. I'm sure he's not happy with either. I mean, I don't know who's happy with this stuff. Even the people who pretend to be happy about this stuff, they end up not being happy people. Yeah. Okay, here's a cat on a tree, and then another cat on the grass, and some bushes. I love y'all. Good night.